Why, hello lovelies, it's Tracy. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's so great to have you guys coming back to here today. So today, what's today? I realized that I had done a video on the making of every other B-side on Oddinary, but dang, how could I have forgotten that? So we're going to watch the making of for that and see what interesting things we can find out about the making of the video, and see if I could impart any sort of experience that I have with working in the film industry. So let's get right to it, shall we? Wait. Huh. So they hadn't had anything printed on the newspaper. So that was all added in post-production. Huh, that's so interesting. Oh, it looks really cold.
저요? 저 엄청 많이 갔거든요. 총 쏘는 법도 배웠어요. 근데 배워보다가 이거 안 될 것 같아가지고 나랑은 안 맞구나 싶어서 그냥 안 했어요.
어깨 한번 쳐볼게요. 끝내고. 할수 있어?
글로 보십시오. 제일 유명한 권총이죠. 제가 이걸 어떻게 하냐고요? 써서 되어 있기 때문에.
민호 씨. 카메라 달려갈게요. 이제 한 명씩 하이크 갈 건데 몸 좀 녹이고 계세요. 네, 감사합니다. 다 같이 걸어나가는 장면 찍을 거라서요. 이거 찍자마자 바로 저기 있는 것들 좀 치워주시면 될 것 같아요. 네, 한 번 더 할게요. 손 조금만 자연스럽게 빼려봐요.
Oh, Han looks so good.
풀어주세요.
진짜 카리스마 없지. 아 근데 형들이랑 있을 때 되게
Oh, look how cold it is on set. Hyunjin looks so good.
상대 조직에 총을 겨누는 씬을 촬영합니다. 좋아하던 느와르 장르의 영화를 찍는 것 같아서 되게 재밌게 촬영하고 있습니다. 훅을 들어보시면은 물총 이런 게 있는데 그게 또 찬빈이 처음부터 꿀총 아시지 않습니까? 약간 노림수죠. 물총. 들으면 자유를 만끽할 수 있는 노래라고 생각합니다. 해방할 수 있는 해방감을 느끼는
공연장에서 춤추게 파티를 한 느낌이었어.
너무 무대를 하고 싶은데 또 마지막에 끝나는 게 너무 이건 멘트가 강해요. 하고 뭔가 나올 것 같은데 땡 하고 끝나거든요. 그것도 되게 노림수였던 것 같아요. 독특해요, 되게 구성적으로.
제 한숨 소리.
Aw. It's so interesting as well. I've mentioned this in the Gomechul making a music video. So if you want to watch my reaction to that, you can click up there or in the description box below, because I talk about prop guns and the use of guns on film and everything like that and my experience with it. So I thought it was really interesting with how it all works and that sort of stuff. So you can click on that if you're interested. I just want to say that it really is like that when you are on set, not even just music videos, but when you're doing filming a scene, there will be the director on the microphone, usually if it's a big production, who will be saying the directions as like the scene's supposed to be progressing. So on one of the movies I've worked on, it was a huge movie. So having to direct over 800 people who are all supposed to be doing particular things and like being quite rowdy and stuff like that. So he needs to be heard over the loudspeaker, and that way you can he can direct people and the crowd and the actors and that sort of thing in that regard. So it's really interesting as well, watching it through a smaller scale, how the director directs the guys and how he sort of wants the shot to be like completed and that sort of thing, and the vision that he has in order for the music video to flow. So I find that really fascinating. And I love Han and Hyunjin's hair in this music video because they both look super badass and super hardcore. That the outfits as well, just amazing. So good.
뭐였지? 이형은 쫄다고 떨어지면 안 됐어요. 저 육상 심판이에요. 아 육상 심판이에요. 얘는 놀러 가는 줄 알았다가 진짜 이런 자리에서 몰라고 총 게임 하다가 그냥 나왔어. 그냥 떨어뜨리고 바로 움직이고 떨어뜨리고 비로 잡고 가짜지. 쏠수 있어. 인사드리겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋. 안녕하세요. 슈렉입니다. 잘 부탁드립니다.
Oh, that's so sweet.
내 품으로 들어와. 나 안 가. 난 안 하는 줄 거야. 맞아. 무빙을 따뜻하게 해야 돼. 딱.
러시아 룰렛도 그리고 총싸움도 하고 그런 씬이 많아서 되게 재밌었어요. 또 총에다가 가스를 부어놔서.
I just want to quickly point out, so I really wish in these sort of music videos that we got to see a little bit more of behind the scenes of the hair and makeup side, or seeing them touched up, but I know that's not going to be the main focus of these sort of videos. So seeing Felix's makeup here, you can really tell that they've really accentuated his aegyo, which is like this sort of like fatty bit like here. So I've always tended to do this with my makeup now too, where I sort of add a shadow into that crease just to sort of accentuate that, and it gives a little, like, it makes your eyes look bigger but also gives like a little cuter effect to the makeup. So I love how they do that on, I think, a lot of the guys, especially Lino, Felix, who's someone else they do it a lot to, Changbin, I'm pretty sure. Need to have a look again, but they do it to a lot of idols, especially female idols, to really accentuate that cutesy sort of wide-eyed effect, because that's, again, their standard of beauty, but as well it just has that certain like effect that I personally love doing with my own makeup. So I find that really interesting and really love to see. I would love to see that whole process a little bit more in depth, especially with the scar makeup that Bang Chan has on.
쏘면 그게 진짜 싸는 것처럼 느껴서 또 되게 멋있게 하니까 컨셉을 잘 잡아서 매우 기대해.
너도 직장인이었으면 이런 삶을 살았을까? 제 삶은
Yeah, Hyunjin has it as well. It's not as accentuated, but it is there a little bit.
노아르 장르 재밌네요. 어때요? 그저 다시 급하지 여유가 뭐에 왜 떡하니 또
동작구만 7점 타기. 이게 내까지 알기 파이팅. 느와르 장르가 아니고 느와르를 보여드릴게요.
맞아요.
반전이 하나 있죠. 사실은 제가 조직 보스였습니다.
네가 보스야?
내가 보스야.
근데 왜 잡혀 있어?
파이.
네가 보스라고? 아까 그 무서운 형님들의 그 미라고? 진짜 그 조직은 망했다.
내가 얼마나 멋있게 찍었는데, 마지막 장면 얼마나 멋있게 찍었는데 내가.
멋있겠다.
에이씨.
없을라.
나 진짜 너무 따뜻해. 영화가 지금 가만히 있어.
이거 진짜 잘생긴 사람 참.
네가 조직 보스야?
딱 봐도 저 보스처럼 생겼잖아.
나도 그때 보스요.
그러니까 지금 줄어졌다니. 기분이 어땠는데?
그랬나요? 그때까지 출하시고.
Oh, that would have been so cold.
왼쪽으로 반복 갈게요.
Oh, you can see Bang Chan's so cold.
탈출했는데 걸렸나봐요. 그래서 포위되어 있는데 눈이 오네요. 낭만적이죠.
See, if we go back there,
지금요
so
탈출했는데
the artist, if you see this, the hair and makeup artist has just put a tissue on Han's head, which is behind. So I'm not too sure on what the fake snow is made of. Usually it's foam, but I don't know what base the foam is made out of. So she's obviously popping that tissue just so while they're on standby, just so it doesn't ruin Han's hair. So the product might have a negative reaction with the hair gels and hairsprays that are in his hair and could cause it to look a bit, someone's reversing, could look a little bit funky. So they're trying to save his hair and make sure that it stays nice as possible. So they're just going to leave that there, I think, for a
걸렸나봐요.
little bit
그래서 포위되어
whilst
있는데 눈이 오네요.
he's just chilling.
낭만적이죠.
Because his hair is really structured compared to the other guys. Like the peaks and the separation from his hair is hard to make it look good. So like there's a way that you do that sort of hairstyle where if you try to manipulate it too much, it can end up not sitting right. So there's a certain way about it to make it look natural, not too sculpted. And yeah, so the artist clearly just wanted to save her work and be like, please don't ruin this hairstyle, because yeah, you don't want things to start going "Meh" as they're shooting. So that's really cool to see.
자, 이거는 이미지인데요.
배꼽 위로 가보니 참 챌린지.
And then if we go back, you'll see the two guys holding the lights behind them as they're walking away. So that is so when they do post-production and they add the flames and everything in the building behind them, that looks real because the light is actually going to be reflected on the back of their heads and hair and that sort of thing. So it's not going to look fake. So that's one thing that you always have to do when you're thinking of what CGI is going to be put in place, because obviously if you don't plan these things ahead of time and film it, say, without those guys holding the lighting behind them, it's going to look super unrealistic because there's not going to be that light that the fire is going to bring on the back of their heads. And trying to then do that artificially through CGI and editing can be super difficult to get the right tone, to get it to look realistic. I'm sure if it's a big enough budget, sure, why not spend a whole year on trying to get the lighting right in editing software, but that's why for the most part you have to get it right when you're filming, because then trying to fix things in post-production is so much more labor inducive that it could have just been fixed by having two guys walking with lights behind them. It could have been that easy. It's the same thing, like if you watch, I didn't work on Thor Ragnarok. It was just a little bit before my time with working in the film industry. But if you see the bit in Thor where his eye gets, what does she do? His sister basically, I think, like tries to, basically attacks his eye. So he loses his sight and his eye in one of them. You can see that it was a situation where they were said, we'll just fix it in post, but they never did. So it then makes the makeup artist look bad because they didn't plan, because apparently that wasn't planned. That wasn't in the original script, so they didn't plan to have a prosthetic ready in order to make his eye look injured in that scene. So they were like, we'll just do what we can and then we'll add stuff to it in post. And then of course it doesn't look great because they either forgot or they just didn't do it. So that's one of those situations where just doing it as you're filming it and for the filming process just makes things so much more realistic and just lets the viewer just be immersed in the world instead of it being taken out when lighting isn't right, it looks unrealistic, or if the makeup isn't real enough and it looks fake. So this would have been a fun shoot. Oh, it's so interesting. I love seeing things like that and how they interact with all the crew and everything after a shoot, because it's so nice to see such humble people and how they treat the crew, because you know. But yeah, it was also nice to see a little bit of a glimpse of them with hair and makeup artists, just a little bit. Basically, you have to know the script. So part of my job when I've worked as a couple of assistants is to, when you get the script, break down everything. Break down each scene, what the actor does in each scene, what characters are in it, what their hair, makeup, if there's special effects needed, what the situation is, because then you can go scene by scene and figure out exactly what you need to do for that particular character. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's a lot of planning. So when you don't have that planning involved, things don't go as smoothly, and so that's why the artists would have needed to know what the vibe was and what the whole thing was going to be about before this whole thing started. So yeah, so planning something like this will take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of like face charts. At least in my experience, that's what it would be like. Maybe their artists work a little bit more on the fly when it comes to these things, but especially as to what the Stray Kids members, maybe what they're sort of feeling for that look as well, they probably take into account that. So it's super interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed my insights on how these sort of things come about. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, as well as tell me what your favorite song on the Oddinary album was, or even your favorite song of Stray Kids in general. I'd really love to know. Maybe I haven't heard the song and I can listen to it. But yeah, so until then, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you coming here and joining our little family on our side of the internet. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We would love to have you. Don't forget to turn the notification bell on and click the like button, because that really helps us out. Really lets me know what you guys are vibing with and makes my heart flutter a little bit. So yeah, so until then, I love you guys and I'll see you next time. Bye.